Folks want to get featured, get highlighted in magazines, on podcasts, and social media. I get it. This might be you, but are you ready? Are you really ready? Do you have a strong foundation in place in your business to handle all the traffic and the eyeballs that will be coming at you? In this episode, we're going to break it all down about all the things that you need in place before you get featured. So grab your tea. Real Talk starts now. Hey there. Welcome to another episode of the Real Talk with Tian podcast. This is a podcast dishing all the dirt on the realities of running a creative business. My name is Tian, and I'm a designer, technical editor, and business coach. See, since leaving corporate almost a decade ago, I've been doing this amazing work full time. It hasn't always been easy, but it has always been totally worth it. Over the years, I've had the amazing opportunities to work with hundreds of makers just like you and tons of big brands. This has given me a front row seat to what it takes to be successful as a creative business. With this podcast, I'm drawing back the curtains to share with you the behind the scenes of the realities of what it's really like, what it takes to run a successful and fulfilling creative business. Welcome to the conversation. Grab a cup of tea or your favorite beverage. It's time for some real talk. Chances are, if you're being featured, that's great, but maybe you're just not ready yet. If you're seeing others around you getting featured and you're thinking, why am I not getting featured? Look around and see what you're doing. Making sure that your foundation is solid enough, that you're ready, that when these opportunities come along, that you can say, yes, I'm ready, and you won't be hit by the Oprah effect. Okay, so here's what I mean when I say the Oprah effect. Let's pretend that Oprah reaches out to you next week and they're like, and her team is like, we want you to be featured in our magazines, on our website, on a TV show, what have you. Here's the question to really consider. Can you handle the visibility? Can you handle the exposure? You're probably thinking, of course, I can do it. I have all these products in mind. I have great ideas. I'm ready. But let's be honest. Most makers could not handle the Oprah effect and would or have gone bankrupt because of this. How might this play out? So you get on the show, in the magazine, whatever. Now you have tons of eyes on you. You have thousands, maybe millions of people reaching out. Now here are the 4 areas that we would need to look at to see if you are ready. Number 1 is your website. Can your website handle all this traffic? Heck, do you even have a website, or are you sending all that amazing traffic to Ravelry or Etsy or to some other marketplace? Where is your home on the internet that you own? Ravelry and Etsy and other marketplaces are just rented land where you can get evicted at any time. You've heard the stories of shops getting shut down without reason, some rightfully so, and others in error. So within minutes, years of work is just gone. Poof. Also, something to think about, when you send all that traffic to, Ravelry and Etsy, you send all that traffic to someone else's home, you're growing their business and not your own. Okay, so what I mean is, sure, you send all that Oprah traffic to your Etsy shop. In a single click, they're in someone else's shop browsing and comparing prices to what you offer. Maybe some of those other shops offer free shipping, which is something that you don't do. So they will get that sale when you did all that work to generate all that traffic, right? So where are you building, and how sound is that foundation? Now, the second thing to think about is, can you handle the new demand? Let's break this down. Say you're an earring maker. You make earrings to order and you sell maybe 1 or 2 pieces each week. You have a full-time job. You're a busy person, right? Now, with the Oprah effect, you're now getting 10, 15, 20 orders in just days. Can you support that increase in demand? Likely, you don't have pieces already made, ready to go. You're making pieces to order as they come in. Now, maybe you don't have a support team to help you with the increase in traffic. You've always been a solo artist, so now you have all this increase in work, but you have no one to help you make the pieces, package the pieces, and do all the other parts, either from the making or the administrative standpoint. Now you have all this extra traffic coming to you with extra demands. Can you handle it? Now you have orders you can't fulfill in a timely manner because you can't ship in your normal time frame. People are starting to complain and canceling orders and asking for refunds. Now you're getting a bad reputation. And then it's just a snowball downhill effect from there, right? Maybe you're like, okay, well, I don't do physical products. My digital products will never run out. But do you have a wide enough range in your portfolio? Okay, maybe you're a knitwear designer and you have only a handful of designs under your belt. You're getting all this exposure, but there's not enough diversity within your portfolio for people to go and buy, right? So maybe you have just a couple sweaters, or maybe you only have a couple shawls, and that's fine. But if you're getting all this traffic, is there enough pieces that people can buy multiple items from you, right? So when I was asked to be featured on Ravelry's front page, summer 2019, this was something I really evaluated for myself before accepting. I audited my portfolio of what I had available for sale. And I say for sale because I had other designs on my Ravelry page that the publishers still had exclusive rights to at the time. So, if someone wanted to buy those patterns, they'd have to go to those publishers' site instead of just buying directly from my Ravelry page. So what I was auditing for before I accepted this offer to be featured, I was looking for skill level. I was looking for, was there a good blend of skill levels? Were there enough beginners, intermediate, or advanced patterns within my portfolio? And the answer is yes. Then I looked at yarn and yarn weights, and if the yarns used were easily substitutable. While I use a lot of Knit Picks yarn, the yarns were easy to substitute with other yarns that the knitter and crocheter might have in their stash or could easily get from their local yarn store. So that was something I was also looking at. I was looking at the weights of the yarn and to see if the price range, that they were easily substitutable across price range as well. So not just the weight, but pricing and fiber content. We'll be back to the episode in literally 90 seconds. But first, a quick shout out to our sponsors. This episode of the Real Talk with Tian podcast is brought to you by possibly the most important training for crochet and knitwear designers and tech editors. Pattern Grading Made Easy, Learn to Grade Like a Pro, Self-Study. This course has helped hundreds of designers and tech editors learn the skills to level up and create patterns that are size inclusive. When we're talking about making designs bigger, it's not just about making the numbers larger. It's about the proportions and considerations of the bodies the designs will fit. I've been there, struggling to figure out pattern grading and how it all worked, figuring out the formula. With the years under my belt as a renowned designer and sought after tech editor, I'm sharing all I know so you can avoid all the trials and error and start creating patterns that are size inclusive. So if you don't want to be that designer, you know the ones who think adding more sizing to their sweater pattern is too hard and too expensive. They don't value all bodies, and God forbid, they'll be promoting obesity. Oh, clutching my pearls. If you're ready to create patterns that are focused on every body, then join Pattern Grading Made Easy Self-Study and start grading like a pro. For more information, go to bit.ly/pattern grading self-study. Again, that's bit.ly/pattern grading self-study. Now let's get back to the show. So we've covered two things so far. Is can your website handle the traffic and can you handle the demand? The next thing to think about is, do you have a way to capture those new leads so that even if they Don't buy when they first land on your page. You'll still have an opportunity to warm them up later to come back and become buyers. And this is where many makers and creatives lose sales. They think that the prospect that's coming to their site, those potential buyers, are going to just land on the page the first time and just buy right away. When in reality, people need to see something many, many times before they make the buying decision. So they have to get to know you, see what you're like. They have to see if they even trust you before they buy. And if you don't have a way to have people have a way to reach out to them after that initial contact, then you're losing out on a huge potential of your audience, those slower buyers that need time to really think about the purchase before they buy. And then the last thing is, do you have a compelling story? Okay, sure, we all have a story and a compelling story, right? But do you have an angle in your story that sets you apart? What is the interesting bits that make you, you? Again, with my feature in Ravelry, it was my story of being an immigrant, learning to crochet and knit as an adult instead of as a child. It was about me using the skills and techniques and the knowledge from my corporate finance days to develop, my knitting and tech editing skills, and then my business skills, and how those things all come together to help me to create a business that is successful, because I'm able to use my corporate background to do planning and forecasting in my business, and just how to be a CEO. So your story doesn't have to be as dramatic, but it has to be you. And I think that's what a lot of us don't really do as makers, is to tell our stories and just to let our audience know us. We think that our products will just sell itself. But in reality, people need to see who they're buying from. We are not Target and Walmart. We are individuals, and people buy from people they like. And it's for these reasons I work with my clients on the building block method. The building block method is a systematic way of making sure that the foundation of your business is solid before adding on more blocks. It's a framework of laying the foundation, getting that all firmed up and functional before adding on another block. Once that other block is on, whether it's a product or a service, maybe it's a social media platform or a system in your business, once that block is firmed up and running and getting result, then you add on a new block. And again, you do the same thing. Make sure that is all firmed up, it's functional and running at capacity before adding on another thing. And it's all done strategically. Let's talk about the building block method real quick and why you need it. Okay? So too often we see others doing a thing. It looks really good, right? And we think we have to do it because they're doing it and it's working. Because if we do that thing that they're doing, we'll get that same result. Then we see someone else doing a different thing and getting great results. And again, we think, yes, we need to do that thing as well too. So now we have these multiple tactics going, but we never made sure that the first thing from that first tactic that we picked up that we're doing is actually working in our business before we start adding on new tactics, new blocks. And even worse, we don't know the strategy behind what those things we're doing because we're just following blindly what others are doing. You don't see the type of house that those people are building, those other makers that we're picking up their tactics and their blocks and their ideas. We just see that they have marble blocks, and then you see that the other person has granite blocks. That's all we see is the actual block, but not the thing that they're building. You don't see where they're putting those blocks. You just go and get the blocks, which are those tactics, those things that you're seeing, and start laying out your floor with the marble and the granite and everything else that you've picked up. You're putting it all together. When you didn't even know the person with the granite is onto their kitchen countertop phase of their building, right? Because they're building the house and they're at the countertop level, they're almost done. While the other person who has a marble, they got the marble for their floor because they're at that stage of building their house, their business. But you're not even at the foundation yet. You're still at the basement level. You're still digging out the basement, trying to excavate all that dirt out. So now you have all this marble and granite and you don't even need that stuff yet. You're just chucking it all into your basement and you don't know how to use it. So this is what the building block method really do for makers and creative. It helps you figure out the pieces that you need when you need it. It helps you make sure that your foundation, each step that you're taking, is built on solid rock before you add on to it. So if you're a maker and you're interested in making jewelry, or you want to start pitching blogs and podcasts, we need to make sure that you have the foundations in place that you can take advantage of all that exposure to the nth degree. So where are you now in your business? Are you at the stage where you are just pulling in different blocks, different ideas, different tactics, and don't have a solid strategy to put it all together in a systematic way that's going to get you to that next level? If this is you, and I would really love to help you get your foundation on firmer ground, please reach out. I've put together a guide to help you figure out your next step so you can shore up your foundation. Find that guide to download in the show notes, or go to tianconnaughton.com/realtalkwithtian and look for the post for this episode. So find clarity and make big things happen. That's it. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to another episode of the podcast all the way to the end. Everything we mentioned will be listed in the show notes at tianconnaughton.com/realtalkwithtian. If you have questions on anything I've mentioned, or if you just want to book a coaching session, go to tianconnaughton.com/contact-us to get in touch. You got this.